Attractor nymphs come in many different shapes and sizes. Today I'm going to show you how to tie a wire K-flash nymph. For a hook, TMC 3769 is a good place to start because it's a heavy little nymph hook. For thread, I like to use 14-aught black Veevus, but you could also use 10 or 12 if that's what you have. And then the key to this fly is the black UTC Ultra wire in size small. So between the bead, the hook, and the wire, this little fly gets down very quickly. Once you get the bead secured on your size 16 hook, take thread wraps back and then snip off the tag. The next step is to tie in the wire. Now a little trick is to slot the wire underneath the bead, and then for this fly you want to tie the wire in on the far side of the hook shank. For a tail, it's hard to go wrong with Coq de Leon fibers. Now for this particular feather, you can see that I pulled off all the little wispy fibers at the bottom, and then I want to take 8 to 10 of those nice long stiff fibers, and we're going to tie those in on top of the hook shank. I like to make the tail on this fly about a hook shank in length. Once you tie in the tail with a couple turns of tying thread, wrap the thread all the way up behind the bead. Now you'll notice the fibers are going to jump up when you get close to the bead. Now reach in with your left hand, give them a little twist, and snip them off close. Now the reason that we tied the wire in on the far side is that now you can take touching wraps forward and it won't mess up the tail. Try to get the wraps as close as you can, but honestly you could tie this pattern without the wire and it would still be effective. I think the segmentation of the wire and also the weight that the wire brings makes a difference in this fly. Once you get it behind the bead, take several turns of tying thread to lock it in. Move your bobbin up against the bead and helicopter off close. For the thorax of the fly, you're only going to need one strand of Peacock Herl. Tie it in, take thread wraps forward, and then you only need 2 or 3 turns of Peacock Herl in order to create a nice lifelike looking thorax on this fly. Now one cool thing about the wire K-flash nymph is that it's a nice blend of natural and synthetic materials. Secure the Peacock Herl with a couple turns of tying thread and then snip it off close. The last step to this fly is how it got its name, the K-flash or Krystal flash. I like to use Hairline's pearl color for this pattern. This Krystal flash material comes in very long strands, so what I'll do is snip off 2 of those, keep them together, and then I'll snip off 3 to 4 inch pieces while holding the 2 longer strands, because then I think it's easier to tie them in. Now you can use the bead as a little bit of a buffer, and it'll help to secure the K-flash material right behind that bead head. Then pull back all 4 fibers, snip them off so they're even in length and about as far back as the thorax. Lastly, perform a 4 or 5 turn whip finish with your whip finish tool. And then I like to sneak in there with a little razor blade and snip it off close. This is a photo of a beautiful brown that I caught in March of 2020 on this exact pattern. I am not a fly fishing guide, but I've definitely been out fishing days where it was slow, where there weren't any bugs on the surface and nymphing was tough, and for some reason, every time I put on the wire K-flash nymph, I was able to get takes on days when it was a struggle really for everybody fishing. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Stay safe and tight lines.